We got Wednesday, White House spin. We're going to have Press Secretary Caroline Levitt, Scott Bessent, and Kelly Loeffler brief the media about what we don't even know. But we have been following news lately. Things feel pretty crazy right about now. We got war stuff going on, fights in Washington. The Pope is tweeting about, or the Pope is getting tweeted on by the president all night long. And us regular folks is paying more higher prices at the gas pump, right? So overseas, our big story is US and Israel got pulled into this war, uh, or we started the war with Iran earlier this year, but it's been going on for weeks now. Now we got a blockade. Now we're getting China. China is trying to get involved with everything. Uh, this is a mess. This is a mess. So I want y'all to pay close attention to Caroline Levitt and the spin that they're going to try to come out of the White House and say. It's always looking or skimming over the surface of the bad things. I don't know about anybody else, but when I hear the White House just telling me all positive things, there's never a negative thing. Everything is positive. We're doing the best. We are the best. We do the best. Nobody else does anything like we do. When I hear that, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. We can feel the negativity going on in this country. We can feel that this war is not going the way it's supposed to. We can feel that we're losing this war. Not the physicality of it, but the media war, the war in the media. We're losing that. Okay. President called for a blockade. China ain't trying to hear no blockade. You can't block China. See, the Strait of Hormuz said, or the Iranian people said, China can come through. A lot of people can come through as long as they not related to United States, long as they don't have nothing to do with the United States. So what does that mean? That means the Britons can't come through. That means people who help the United States can't come through the Strait of Hormuz. So we're gonna hear the spin. Caroline Levitt is gonna give us the spin like she always does about what's going on with the Strait of Hormuz, what's going on or what's going to go on. Who knows what they're going to say? Because they never give us the truth. It's always a spin. That's the only thing I don't like about this administration. It's never the truth. It's always something goofy, and it's always the best of everything. The best of everything doesn't happen all the time. The best of everything doesn't happen all the time. And this administration is always pretending as though the best is happening all the time. And that's not how this works. None of this works like that. We hear different stories from Iran. We hear different stories from other news media outlets. But we always seem to get the spin. So I just want you to pay close attention to the spin that this Caroline Levitt is going to put on us. As usual, I can't believe a thing she said. When they came out and they said that Alex Preddy was a terrorist, when they came out and they said that Renee Good was a terrorist, I stopped believing the things that this White House has to say straight up face value. You cannot listen to these people and believe what they say face value, because they're going to lie. Okay? They're going to lie to make it look good. I'm just used to this administration lying to the American people. And people say, no, they're not lying. Yeah, yes, they are. When you tell us that everything is okay, when you tell us everything is rosy, hunky-dory, when you continue to tell us that X, Y, and Z is happening, and we can feel that it's not happening, that means that you're lying to the American people. Hey, AG Honda. That's when we know that you're lying to the American people. And so I can't trust what comes out of this administration's mouth. So why are we talking to Scott Bessent? Why is Scott Bessent coming out? Okay. Who is that? That's my question. Why do we need to talk? Why do we need to talk to Scott Bessent? Okay. He's the Secretary of the Treasury. Why do we need to have him come out and talk to us? You know what I'm saying? He's the person that is in charge. He's the Treasury Secretary. He's the person that's in charge of money. So what would he be out here talking to us about? He's in charge of taxes, government spending, the tariffs, banking rules, keeping the US dollar strong. He's one of the key people that helped to push Trump's economic plans, cutting taxes, regulation. He does all of those things. Why do we need to have a conversation with this particular person? See, these are the questions that you ask yourself. Why is this person here explaining X, Y, and Z? Why are you explaining what's going on with the economy? You just need to make sure that our money is right. We don't need to hear about X, Y, and Z. We need to make sure that our money is right. So why does this gentleman need to come out and speak to us? Pay close attention to what he says, okay? Pay close attention to what he said, because we have no reason to have a conversation with the Treasury Secretary, okay? We have no reason. And then I just don't trust this administration, because they never come out and they never say any of the bad stuff. It's always all good. It's all good. And we know that it's not all good, guys. We know exactly that it's not all good. So pay close attention. Now we have our last person. Who is this person? Kelly Loeffler. Kelly Loeffler? What does she do for us? She's a businesswoman turned politician. Senator from Georgia for 1 year. She runs the Small Business Administration. What the hell are they going to tell us now? All of these things, all of these changes, all at one time. This is why we have an issue with this administration. It's 1,000 different things that is attacking the system all at the same time. This Kelly Loeffler is in charge of the Small Business Administration. So what is she going to have a conversation with us about? This is another thing that I question. Caroline Leavitt she's not a very honest broker, for one. Then we got Scott Bessent, who can't say a negative word about the president. If you say, see, this is my take on these people that Donald Trump hired. Donald Trump is a corrupt human being. And so he gets people to work for him that are also corrupt in some way, shape, or form. Not maybe, monetarily corrupt. It may not be that. It might be a moral failing. It might be a gambler. It might be something like that. But these people also, in order for you to do harm to other people, in order for you to do the things that have been done throughout this administration, some of the corruption, in order for you to be okay with some of these things, you had to have some kind of moral failing already, because Donald Trump is asking for your loyalty. That's why he asks these people for loyalty, because he knows that he is a corrupt human being. And if I get loyalty from you, I already know what the dirty is on you. So I'm going to make sure that you know. So here we go.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Let's get busy.
How are you? Good to see you. We have a packed house, and I have two very special guests with me today. I will start with some scheduling announcements. Tomorrow afternoon, President Trump will travel to Las Vegas, Nevada to hold a roundtable and deliver remarks on the working families tax cuts. On Friday, President Trump will travel to Phoenix, Arizona to deliver remarks at a Turning Point USA event at Dream City Church. And I'm really honored to be standing here today on Tax Day with two esteemed members of the president's cabinet and his excellent economic team, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Small Business Administrator Kelly Loeffler. As we have seen this tax season, President Trump's working families tax cuts have put a historic amount of money back into the pockets of the American people this year. On the campaign trail in 2024, President Trump looked voters in the eye and promised them he would sign the largest tax cuts in the history of our country. And on Independence Day last year, President Trump and congressional Republicans delivered, passing the largest tax cut in history for working and middle-class Americans, including no tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security. They also passed unprecedented tax relief for small businesses, farmers, workers, and families. With Tax Day officially here, the numbers prove these tax cuts have been nothing short of extraordinary. More than 53 million filers claimed at least one of President Trump's signature new tax cuts. The average refund this filing season is more than $3,400. The Trump administration has issued more refunds and larger refunds than in any year of the history of our country. And I will allow Secretary Bessent to break down the numbers in greater detail. President Trump and Republicans in Congress have always believed that the American people know how to spend their money better than the government does. But what the American people must not forget is that every single Democrat in Congress voted against these tax refunds. The media has largely omitted this fact and other critical details in their stories covering the benefits of the Trump tax cuts. If the Democrats in Congress had gotten their way and blocked President Trump's historic legislation, Americans would have faced the largest tax hike in history, nearly $4 trillion. The average taxpayer would have seen a 22% increase in their tax rates. Democrats in Congress have proven over and over again that they are the affordability frauds who believe the government should keep more of the American people's hard-earned money. This president and Republicans in Congress fundamentally believe that Americans deserve to keep more of their hard-earned paychecks. It's a clear contrast for American families to keep in mind. So with that, I will turn it over to our great Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, and then he will turn it over to Kelly. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Caroline. I'm here to tell you that it has been a fantastic tax season. It has gone smoothly. It has gone efficiently from the point of view of the IRS, but most importantly, it's been a great tax season for the American people. Thanks to promises made, promises kept, through the working families tax cuts, the president has delivered the record refunds to the American people. More than 45% of the filers of the returns that we have seen have had at least one of the four president's signature policies: no tax and tips, no tax and overtime, the deductions for our great seniors, and the deductibility of interest on auto loans for American-made cars. And I will tell you that one of those that Americans have taken is no tax and overtime. And it's the American way. If you want to work longer hours, you get to keep more of your money. And with that, we are seeing. I want to encourage everyone out there watching today to change their withholding if they haven't already done so, because if you change your withholding, then you will get an automatic real wage increase on a weekly or a monthly basis, and you will be able to keep more of your money this calendar year. So with that, we have also seen with the Trump accounts, we have had 5 million families file for Trump accounts for their children. 1.2 million of those are eligible for the $1,000 seed bonus. So we look forward to that picking up more and more. For those of you who haven't done it, it's easy to remember, Form 4547. You can do it while you're filing your taxes. You can do it at any point during the year. We think this is going to be transformational in terms of financial literacy. This is Financial Literacy Month, and at Treasury and all over the administration, we are working with the American people, with American families, not only to give them more of their money, but to show them how to invest it in a safe, smart, and sound way. So with that, I will turn it over to Kelly.
Great. Thank you, Scott, and good afternoon, everyone. Excited to be here on Tax Day, important day for small business because small business and their employees have real relief thanks to President Trump's working family tax cuts. As administrator of the U.S. Small Business Administration, it is my great honor to serve our great president as the cabinet level voice for America's 36 million small businesses. President Trump is right. Small business is big business. Indeed, they are a massive economic engine that creates 2/3 of all new jobs. They represent 99% of all businesses, and they drive about half of our GDP. The working family tax cuts are putting money back into the pockets of the hardest working Americans. That's why small business and their employees are benefiting the most. President Trump and congressional Republicans have saved Americans from a $4 trillion tax hike, including a staggering 20% tax increase on working families. It would have destroyed millions of jobs. Now, I've traveled the country from Maine to Alaska, and not a single worker, not a single small business asked to pay $1 more in taxes. Yet every single congressional Democrat voted to raise taxes, not just on small businesses, on our workers, on our seniors, on hardworking families. Thankfully, Republicans united behind common sense policy of letting Americans, not Washington bureaucrats or fraudsters, keep more of what they earn. Now, so far, as you've just heard, 12 million small businesses have an average tax saving of $7,000. The 20% small business pass-through deduction is now permanent, offering them certainty to plan for the future and the rocket fuel to create 1 million new jobs. Eric Williams at Prince Manufacturing in rural Georgia, he specializes in fabrication and machining. This year, he's reinvesting his tax savings to hire 500 new employees. The provisions for 100% expensing of equipment, expansion, and R&D are also growing production to help us reclaim industrial dominance. At Blue Patriot Fab, which I visited this week in Omaha, the owners highlighted one of their newest buildings, and they call it the Big Beautiful Building because the tax cuts helped them build it. Made in America is back. And that's why the America worker is winning too. No tax on tips and overtime means that millions of employees are now rewarded, not punished, for working more. And it's already benefited, as you just heard, 31 million taxpayers. In Baltimore, John and Tony Minadakis are proud second-generation owners of Jimmy's Seafood. Now, with no tax on tips and overtime, their 200 employees know that coming into work means going home with more pay. And Wade, a CNC machinist that I met at Lehigh Valley Plastics in Pennsylvania, said he routinely takes on extra shifts, and now the tax cuts reward his extra effort. And the benefits aren't just for tax season. As you've heard, the Trump accounts are connecting young people from birth to the power of our free enterprise system. With 529 savings accounts and Workforce Pell for trade schools, we're now training the next generation of skilled workers to fill millions of open jobs at small businesses. So in closing, America is open for business again. Yet every Democrat voted no on the very tax relief that is restoring Main Street, that is putting more money back into the pockets of hardworking families. Small businesses are rebounding from years of Biden inflation, decades of unfair trade, and massive regulatory overreach. But thanks to President Trump's tax cuts, they now talk about expansion, hiring plans, and generational opportunity. This is America First in action. Lower taxes, rising wages, and a thriving Main Street. Now millions of Americans are getting their largest tax refund ever, and Main Street is getting historic tax relief to keep the American dream alive. Thank you.
Good. And before we take questions, I want to provide some numbers for you all. So tax day statistics as of April 12th, over 53 million filers, nearly 45% claimed one of President Trump's signature tax cuts. The average tax cut for filers benefiting from one of President's tax The new tax cuts is over $800. Over 6 million filers have claimed no tax on tips with an average deduction of $7,100. Over 25 million filers have claimed no tax on overtime with an average deduction of $3,100. Over 30 million seniors have claimed the enhanced deduction for seniors with an average deduction of $7,500. And over 1 million filers have claimed no tax on car loan interest on American cars for an average deduction of over $1,800. The average refund this filing season is over $3,400. Over 34 million families have claimed Republicans' enhanced child tax credit, which is permanently doubled and expanded by the working families tax cuts. Over 105 million filers have claimed the permanently doubled standard deduction, simplifying tax filing for millions across America. So as much as people do not like to pay their taxes, and we saw a survey today that 70% of Americans still believe that they are overtaxed, this is a great day for the American people.
Thank you, Scott and Kelly. We'll now open it up to questions. You're welcome to ask me questions or either of the great cabinet officials next to me. And we'll start, as always, with our new media seat, Mr. Posobiec. Why don't you kick us off?
Thank you, Caroline. Secretary Bessent, if I may, there's been this media narrative out there that while we see the data on tax refunds, that it's not good enough, that the tax season has been too soft. What is your response to this media narrative regarding the tax refunds?
Look, it's been an incredible tax season. We have done more with less at the IRS, that we have moved over millions of taxpayers to digital tax accounts, and that leaves us able to service more taxpayers in person and on the phone. And as we can see, the economy was very strong. We are seeing growth across the board in all areas. And as Kelly said, small business, Main Street are really the big beneficiaries. And this is what they don't want you to hear, that Wall Street always done great. This administration is focused on parallel prosperity and bringing prosperity back to Main Street. And that starts with people keeping more of their money.
And one for Caroline, as well as the administration in general, if I may.
Wait a minute, why do they keep bringing up these tax cuts? Like these tax cuts are supposed to fix everything. Because a lot of regular people, that don't hit the way they think it's going to hit. If you already struggling, rent is high, groceries high, bills is high, a small tax break once a year, 1 year's worth of tax break, what is that supposed to do? That's not changing your life at all. That's barely helping you catch them. I don't know one person who took their tax cut or they tax and was able to put it in the bank and wouldn't be able to use it. Every person I know have to use their tax refund. This tax refund, it don't mean jack to the everyday or normal American person. So why do they keep bringing it up like this tax break, like this tax cut is something big? It's not that big because groceries keep going up. Gas is going up. Everything is going up. Nothing is good about a tax cut that comes once a year. But this is the only thing they can bring up to say that they've done for the American people. They haven't done anything for the American people except this tax cut thing. And this tax cut means nothing when the gas is about to go up 30 more cents in the next 2 weeks.
This past Saturday, I published a video of now former Representative Eric Swalwell in bed. The president's heading to Las Vegas. Well, Eric Swalwell was in Las Vegas in this video. I'm told, according to geotagging, this scandal has erupted now. Accusers coming forward, many others coming forward, as well as questions regarding his extremely close relationship with Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego. And I want to know if the administration had any comment on the fact that Senator Gallego seemed to be very vocal about wanting the release of the Epstein files, and yet when questions come to his own involvement with Eric Swalwell, he doesn't seem to want to provide anything.
Yeah, look, I think the accusations and allegations against former Representative Swalwell are despicable and disgusting. I think it's also quite plausible, as you point out, Jack, that there were many other Democrats in this town on Capitol Hill who knew about his perhaps illegal.
Yeah, but we also know about the Republican Gonzalez, and you guys haven't done anything about that guy. So stop it. You see the hypocrisy? They wouldn't kick that dude Gonzalez out. but now they want to kick Swalwell out. And that's cool. They both need to get out, but you need to keep it a buck for both parties. Y'all weren't going to do anything with this Gonzalez until this Swalwell came up. That's the hypocrisy of the Republicans.
Behavior, certainly his disgusting and inappropriate behavior, and why were they silent for so long? I think those are questions that must be raised of these sitting representatives, including Mr. Gallego, and I hope that the journalists in this room will do their jobs, and the journalists on Capitol Hill will do their jobs to ask Democrats in power how they knew about such despicable behavior from one of their elected representatives for so long, but never said or did anything about it. So that's what we hope to see as far as the White House and the president is concerned. Thank you. Peter.
Thank you. I have one for you and then one for Secretary Besson.
Sure.
For you, Caroline, there are now 10 American scientists who have either gone missing or died since mid-2024. They all reportedly had access to classified nuclear or aerospace material. Is anybody investigating this to see if these things are connected?
I've seen the report, Peter. I haven't spoken to our relevant agencies about it. I will certainly do that, and we'll get.
What the hell is going on? What the hell you mean? 10 scientists gone missing. American scientists? What the hell?
Get you an answer. If true, of course, that's definitely something I think this government and administration would deem worth looking into. So let me do that for you.
Thank you. And Secretary Besson, it doesn't sound like we're going to have $3 a gallon gas by summertime, which we had initially been told by the energy secretary. He now says that it would be very.
Gas ain't going down. If anybody tell you gas going down, they're lying. No gas is going down. If anything, it's going to go up. Way up. Now that there's a blockade.
Aggressive if we're going to get to the $3 a gallon gas by the summer. So when are we really going to get $3 a gallon gas?
Well, I think that's going to be the up to how the negotiations go. President Trump said this morning that he thinks we're nearing the end. The U.S. kept their side on the ceasefire. We've stopped firing. The Straits of Hormuz have not been completely reopened. So we will see. And I'm optimistic that during the summer, we will see gas with a 3 in front of it sooner rather than later.
Y'all wild. Y'all listening to, that's why I say, listen to what they say. You know full well, because we got this problem in Hormuz, that gas went up because we had the Strait doing what it's doing. Now, the Strait, there is no resolve for the Strait. There's no deal for the Strait. Why would you think the gas would go down? Gas is not going to go down as long as they're in conflict, as long as we're in war. So you listen to them. If they say it's going to go down, they're lying. And this dude right here knows that he's lying.
It's Bank Week here in DC. So I've been meeting with a lot of my Middle Eastern counterparts, the finance ministers, and they all say that once the straits are open, they can start pumping again within 1 week.
So not by summer like Memorial Day, but maybe by Labor Day?
Again, I'm optimistic that sometime between June 20th and September 20th, that we can have $3 gas again. And as I said this morning too, don't let these people snow y'all. They lie for a living. Ain't no gas going down. Ain't no gas going down. Long as we have this blockade, as long as Iran is in charge of the Hormuz, ain't no gas going down. Stop it. We're going to be watching the gas stations.
America ain't in charge of no gas. America don't have no price. They don't have nothing to do with no price on no gas. Nothing. This is all related to Iran, and Iran is in control of it now. So don't listen to a damn thing they say. When they say gas going down, it's going to be going down. It's going to be no, it's not. It ain't going down no time soon.
They raised prices very quickly when they stated when the crude oil prices went up. We hope they'll bring them down just as quickly as crude oil prices have come down, which they've come down substantially just in the past 10 days.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Can you give us an update on the president's thinking on the next attorney general? A lot of names have been going around, like Ron DeSantis, Rudy Giuliani, Ed Martin. They're being floated as contenders. What qualities is the president looking for in a new AG? And will there be accountability for what many have described as weaponization within Biden's office when he was the president?
Sure. While certainly ensuring that there's accountability for the weaponization of justice that took place under the Biden administration is a top priority for this president. With respect to names that are floated, there are always names floated in the press. Sometimes I have a chuckle when I read some of the reports about certain people floated for certain jobs. As far as the president is concerned right now, Todd Blanche remains the acting attorney general. The president feels he's doing a good job, and that's where it remains right now. I don't have any personnel updates for you today. Annie.
Thank you, Caroline. I have a question for you and also for the Treasury Secretary. First of all, there was an interview that Dr. Mehmet Oz did recently where he described the president's views on his own diet. He said that he argued that diet soda is good for him because it kills grass. And if you pour it onto the grass, the grass is killed and it therefore must kill cancer cells. I'm wondering if you can, was this sort of an accurate description of how the president sees?
Look, as we all know in this room, I think you know the president has a very good sense of humor. It's one of his most underreported characteristics, I would say. I have heard him tell this joke before. I think the Wall Street Journal should get a better sense of humor.
And then another one for you. Has the president filed his taxes and is he going to release them publicly?
It's actually a very good question. I have not inquired with the president directly about his own taxes, but I'm happy to do so, and we'll get you an answer on that.
Secretary Besson,
I have filed my tax.
the president has publicly said that you are the reason that he has not fired Chairman Jay Powell. Will you make that case again to him, as he's recently said that he still wants to fire the chairman?
Look, I am the.
They have already decided that. I don't even know why they gonna bring that back up. You can't fire Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell has a standard 10-year contract. He has some kind of contract. You can't fire him for cause because you don't have a cause. So even bringing that up. See, the reason why the president wants all these people around him and he wants his people around him is because he's corrupt enough that if he doesn't put other corrupt people around him, they're going to tell on him. So all of these people that are around the president in some capacity or not, they're corrupt in their own way. So they're allowing the president to do what he does. That's the only way you would be dealing with a president that does this. If you have some kind of corruptness about yourself, that's the only way.
Confident that the process that we have laid out in terms of Kevin Warsh, becoming the next Fed chair, he's going to have the hearing on the 21st of this month. He's a great candidate. We know that the Republicans on the Senate Finance or Senate Banking Committee are aligned in that, and I am very optimistic that the Kevin Warsh will be the chair of the Fed on time, and that will be a moot question.
Stephen, go ahead.
Secretary Bessent, you mentioned that the no tax on overtime is the biggest one that people are claiming. You said 25 million people. Have you seen evidence that more companies are offering overtime or that people are working more overtime and increasing their productivity? And the second question, the health insurance industry is advertising heavily in DC, describing themselves as the good guys in the whole healthcare system. President Trump has threatened to haul in their executives and force them to lower prices. Can you provide any update on the administration's efforts there?
Okay, so I'll take the second one last because that's not my area. I don't wear a lot of hats here, but I am sure that the president makes his views known with corporate executives, and if that is true, then they will be hauled before him. And with overtime, as Kelly and I go out and talk to employers and workers around the country, they all want more overtime. And there was this narrative that I think over 2 million illegal aliens have either voluntarily deported or been deported, and that there would be a worker shortage. Well, what better way to fill that gap than with overtime for hardworking Americans and for them to keep more of it?
Yeah, I'll just add that a great example are the factories that we see coming back thanks to 100% Made in America expensing.
Well, don't let them lie to you. Ain't no factories coming back here. Maybe one, maybe two. They ain't coming back to the United States. There is no incentive to bring factories back to the United States. They're just lying to you, and they think you won't check. Why these people think we can't fact check shit? It's crazy.
Coosa Steel is a great example in Rome, Georgia, where the owner was down to running one shift 1 day a week. He's up to 2 or 3 shifts 5 or 6 days a week. So thanks to reindustrializing this nation through our small manufacturing base, which most manufacturers in America meet the small business definition, 98% of them, we're seeing more shifts taking place, more opportunities for overtime, and then more willingness of workers to take on overtime shifts, because in the past they were penalized by the tax system for taking on overtime.
Elizabeth, go ahead.
Thank you. This is for Administrator Loeffler. You talked about how the One Big Beautiful Bill benefits small businesses. With small business optimism falling in March, is the administration planning on providing any additional tax relief or other resources to small businesses that have been affected by high fuel prices during their run operation?
Yeah, so one data point does not a trend make, and the long-term trend under President Trump has been for small business optimism to be above its 52-year average. Under Joe Biden, small business optimism fell below that average for 34 consecutive months because small business was being crushed by regulation, massive red tape, the threat of high taxes, and all the burdens of the Green New Deal. So right now, small businesses are really in growth mode. They're planning to hire, and the optimism is very strong. If you see in the NAM survey, National Association of Manufacturers came out, their optimism is up 5 points. So I think this is temporary, and we'll get back on trend.
What's the status of extending the Iran ceasefire, Caroline?
Yes, so I saw some reporting, again, bad reporting this morning, that we had formally requested an extension of the ceasefire. That is not true at this moment. We've remained very much engaged in these negotiations, in these talks. You heard from the Vice President directly and the President this week that these conversations are productive and ongoing, and that's where we are right now. I've also seen some reporting about the potentiality for in-person discussions again. Those discussions are being had, but nothing is official until you hear it from us here at the White House. But we feel good about the prospects of a deal. The president mentioned that in his interview yesterday. And it's obviously in the best interest of Iran to meet the president's demands. I think he's made his red lines in these negotiations very clear to the other side. And so we are continuing to see how these conversations go.
Would those talks be in Islamabad, or where would they be the next round?
They would very likely be in the same place as they were last time, yes. With the same, I would just want to make one point that's important to the president. The Pakistanis have been incredible mediators throughout this process, and we really appreciate their friendship and their efforts to bring this deal to a close. So they are the only mediator in this negotiation. While there have been many countries around the world who want to offer their help, the president feels it's important to continue to streamline this communication through the Pakistanis, and so that's what continues to take place. Will.
Thank you, Caroline. How much room do you see for additional sanctions being placed on Iran? And do you feel like the United States is getting enough support from allies on that front? There was a letter that went to Oman and some other allies that suggested maybe the sanctions weren't, this could be for Secretary Vest as well, but the sanctions basically weren't having the effect that the United States wanted.
I'll let the Treasury Secretary, who's in charge of sanctions, answer that question.
Yeah, I think that's not a correct characterization. Yesterday, we announced Operation Economic Fury, and we, for over a year, we have had maximum pressure on the Iranians, both on blocking payments into the Iranian state and going after the accounts of the IRGC. One of what may prove to be fatal mistakes that the Iranians made was bombing their GCC neighbors, and who are now willing to be much more transparent in terms of the funds or do a deeper dive in investigating the funds that are held within their banking systems. So we have pushed out to them the request that we want to freeze more funds of the leadership of the IRGC and any members of Iranian leadership. The other thing that we have done is we have told countries that if you are buying Iranian oil, that if Iranian money is sitting in your banks, we are now willing to apply secondary sanctions, which is a very stern measure. And the Iranians should know that this is going to be the financial equivalent of what we saw in the kinetic activities.
Is this an example of expanding the war economically as opposed to militarily? Is this another phase?
Exactly.
Secretary, any updates on the insurance program, the U.S. reinsurance program for ships and tankers sailing through the Strait of Hormuz? Any update on that, sir?
Well, it's now up to $40 billion. It's run through the DFC, and we are waiting for the ships to be able to get some semblance of normality, and then they can come to the DFC and our private sector partners and request the insurance.
Yeah, because the insurance companies cancel the insurance on those ships that are going through the Hormuz. Who want to go through the Hormuz because it costs you an arm and a leg to get insurance. And since there's danger in going through the Hormuz waters, the insurance companies are saying, if we're going to insure these people, you're going to pay us to insure you to go through the Hormuz waters. And so now people are losing their insurance, or ships are losing their insurance, and the insurance is going up because of the Strait of Hormuz and the danger of going through there. The Iranians don't have to close the Strait of Hormuz. That's all they have to do is make it more dangerous to go through there. And they've made it more dangerous, which means the insurance company is saying, you're going to pay me more money. So this is another scam that they're going to get through. Oh, let's make sure our partners are insuring all of the ships that go through the Strait of Hormuz so we can make money on the back end. This is what they're doing. They corrupt.
And when you tell private shipping companies out there right now nervous about this whole thing, saying, wondering if they should even get near the strait.
What's that?
What do you tell to encourage shipping companies to do business through the strait?
Well, I think we're going to have to wait and see when they are permanently open, because this is a mechanism. When we declare that it is safe, they also have to have insurance. Lloyd's of London had skyrocketing insurance during the time.
Yeah, they have skyrocketing insurance because the insurance company saying, oh, hell no, you want me to insure a ship that might, or a tugboat that might get blown up in the Strait of Hormuz? So now the insurances are high. So now the freaking White House is going to have their friends insure ships. So they're going to get the money to insure the ships. You see how the scam is going back and forth. Make the Strait of Hormuz dangerous enough that the insurance company raises the rates. And then we have a friend who opens up an insurance company to insure the tugboat, to insure the ships. And we get paid on the back end from referring all of our people over to you. It's wild.
The rates are still very high. So we want to provide, the U.S. government will make a profit on this, but we want to.
See what I'm saying? The United States government will make a profit on insuring ships that get through the Strait of Hormuz. That's wild. This is so corrupt.
Provide a more normalized level and an economically sound basis for ships to move in and out of the Gulf as they did before the start of the conflict.
Thanks, Caroline. I appreciate it. Thanks, Caroline. Yeah, thanks, Caroline. I appreciate it. So I want to cover two topics, if I could, the tax day, but also the confirmation. So the confirmation hearing set for next week for Kevin Warsh, but Senator Tom Tillis is still a no, and he's holding firm on that. How are you going to win over Senator Tillis to get this confirmation out of committee?
Look, I'm sure Senator Tillis wants to do the best thing for the Federal Reserve, for the American people. He has publicly said that Kevin Warsh is a great candidate for the chair. So let's get to the hearings and see where we are then.
I want to ask you about tax day, if I could. So the tax gains that you've talked about through the One Big Beautiful Bill, is that going to offset the consternation from Americans, for lack of a better term, over the $4 gas?
Hell no. We still gonna feel the $4 gas, and we still, stuff is gonna continue to rise. Let's see what they say. Let's see what they lie about.
Gallon of gas.
Well, again, as I said, no one's ever objected to more money in their pocket. So the Americans have more money. They can decide how they want to spend it. And I did want to come back to the overtime question.
I just want to know, do y'all feel like y'all got more money in y'all pocket, or y'all running behind? I just want to know, do y'all feel like y'all running behind everything?
Because I was up in Westchester County last Friday, and I met with several of the first responders and police unions, and those, whether it's our great policemen, our firemen, our ambulance drivers, they all now want more overtime. And how great it is to have them to be able to be engaged and keep more of their money.
For both of you, perhaps, are President Trump's threats of a 50% tariff against China still on the table now, or is the letter exchange that you talked about now taking that off of the table?
Well, as you know, the president spoke about the letter with respect to he and the correspondence between he and President Xi. President Xi assured the president that they are not supplying Iran with weapons throughout this conflict, and that assurance was made to the president. It's obviously something the administration keeps close tabs on with respect to tariff. You have any update on that, Mr. Secretary?
I don't have an update on the tariffs, but I do have an update on sanctions. Iran is or used to be the largest state sponsor of terrorism. China was purchasing more than 90% of their oil, which is about 8% of China's energy needs. We believe this blockade in the Straits, there will be a pause of Chinese buying, but I will tell you that 2 Chinese banks received letters from the U.S. Treasury. I'm not going to identify the banks, but we told them that if we can prove that there is Iranian money flowing through your accounts, then we are willing to put on secondary sanctions.
Nick, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline.
Go ahead, Nick.
Just a
Thank
quick
you,
follow-up.
Caroline.
May I just
So my
follow
question
up
for
on
you-
that? Are you considering any more sanctions relief, Mr. Secretary, for countries that are suffering right now in order to get more oil to your allies?
We will not be renewing the general license on Russian oil, and we will not be renewing the general license on Iranian oil. Because again, that was oil that was on the water prior to March 11th.
Right.
So all that has been used.
Nick, go ahead.
Treasury Secretary, as you both noted, 53 million Americans have used one of these new tax exemptions. The president enacted. Can you speak to not only the relief that's bringing specifically working class Americans like waiters, bartenders, overtime workers, but also the impact this is going to have on the economy?
Well, couple of things there is I can tell you, I think Kelly's very popular, but I think with service workers, I may be the most popular cabinet secretary in DC, because when I show up, a doorman, the not so much bartenders, but waiters, waitresses, they all say, thank you for no tax on tips. Again, I was in a diner up in Westchester County. And
how y'all be coming up with these lies and these skits every time y'all talk about taxes on tips? It's always taxes on tips. You notice. It's nothing else. They haven't done anything for the American people. They haven't done anything to help further the American people's lives. Nothing. This tax on tips is nothing compared to $4 gas. That's crazy.
And this is a home run in terms of what's happening with these folks. And what we can't tell you yet, and we will be able to provide data at a later date, that 52 million is how many have used at least one of those. So we expect that there are probably multiple filers who have used at least more than one of those 4 signature things. And look, again, this is the America First, Americans, hardworking Americans keeping more of their money, just like with our small businesses. If we go back and look, when you hear the left talk about this was a tax cut for millionaires and billionaires, they wanted.
It was only a tax cut for millionaires and billionaires. This money does nothing for everyday working Americans. If you're going to give me an extra $200 on my taxes, and the gas and the food is going up $40 every month or more a month, you're not giving me a tax cut. It means nothing. And we're not even getting $200. It's a lie.
To raise the tax rate for everyone making more than $500,000, that is a small business killer.
I have one question for the Secretary and then the Administrator. Mr. Secretary, since we're on the topic of China a few minutes ago, we are a little over a year past Liberation Day, the tariffs. The goods trade deficit with China has dropped sharply. Are those gains sustainable, and are you worried about any retaliatory actions that could go against those gains?
I actually think we're going to be building on those gains in terms of the trade deficit dropping with China. Since last summer, there's been great stability in the relationship. And really, the keystone to the relationship is the strong respect that the two leaders have between each other. My experience has been when the communication is at the top, then we follow that directive and those wishes. We had the meeting in Busan, Korea in October. We will be having the state visit in Beijing. And so I expect great stability in the relationship, but that doesn't mean that our trade deficit can't continue dropping.
Go ahead. For the administrator, I know that there are orders and shipments of factory equipment. They are at record highs. How many small businesses has the SBA assisted with loans and supports, with loans to support them?
Well, the SBA set an all-time lending record last year of $45 billion under President Trump, because small businesses now have access to the capital that they need to build in America. Again, we are becoming a nation of builders, and we see that on the ground, factories expanding. As a result, we have record PMI, which is Purchasing Managers Index, manufacturing expansion, 2 consecutive months in a row of export records. And so when you look at where our nation has come in terms of export-import imbalance, it's been unfair to the American worker and to American industry, and we're reshoring whole industries because of this tax bill.
Libby.
Libby,
go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. I have 2 questions for you. The first one is about Iran. The second one's actually about United Airlines that I want to ask you about. So on Iran, is there a timeline for how long this blockade is going to remain in place in the Strait of Hormuz by the United States that President Trump has voiced to you or that you've heard among officials?
Sure. I will never set timelines on behalf of the President of the United States, but with respect to the blockade, as you know, it has been fully implemented, and it's being enforced against vessels of all nations entering or departing Iranian ports. I want to make that point clear. I've seen some misreporting on that as well. This includes all Iranian ports on the Arabian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. And our U.S. forces in the region are supporting the freedom of navigation for vessels that are transiting the strait to and from non-Iranian ports. So I know some in the press were confused about that. We are supporting the freedom of navigation, just not with respect to any tanker or vessel that would benefit the economy of Iran as these negotiations continue.
So there was reports that the CEO of United proposed a merger with American Airlines. This would affect tens of millions of Americans. That was proposed in a meeting with President Trump. Was that a merger that he has voiced any kind of support of?
It's not anything that we have a position on or anything we're commenting on. I know it's an idea that has been proposed by private industry, but it's not something the president or the White House have an opinion on or are weighing in on at this time. John, go ahead.
Long as it benefits the president, long as you can put some money in his pocket, he don't care what they do with the American people.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. This is for Secretary Bessent. On Monday of next week, importers can start requesting claims for tariff refunds. And my understanding is $127 billion eligible for refunds. What's that process look like? How can a porter and an importer request such a refund going forward?
That's not being run out of Treasury. We would just be the paymaster. So that's being run out of CPB. Yep.
And so explain that process. I understand you're not running it. How does that process actually work? If you're an importer, you paid these tariffs, the Supreme Court found that those tariffs were illegal. What's the process for them to get back that money?
Oh, shit. They're asking about them tariffs that y'all got to pay back, White House. White House, y'all got to pay all them tariffs back that y'all collected from people. That's what he's asking about.
They would be in touch with the CPB. And I think the number you're quoting is so that's the amount who have already requested refunds. So they are already in the chute, and we'll see what the timeline is for that.
Will that affect the U.S. economy, all of those refunds coming out of the U.S. Treasury?
Again, we'll have to see what comes out, and we'll have to see what the companies do with them. Just to be clear, thanks to the Supreme Court, some of this money is going back to China. So is that going to affect the U.S. economy?
No, there's a lawsuit against the United States for all of those tariffs that people want to get back. So they have to deal with all of that on top of whatever tariffs they got to pay to somebody else. They got to pay those lawsuit tariffs back because they got to pay them back. Because one of the goofy lawyers went to the Supreme Court and said, if we're wrong about the tariffs, we're going to pay everybody back. One of those lawyers for the president said that. So now they got to do it.
I mean, I don't know.
A question for Secretary Besson.
Danny, go ahead.
Mr. Secretary, you were quoted as saying in an interview earlier this week that it was worth a bit of economic pain for international security. Is that this administration's message to American voters with high gas prices that?
Of course it is. Of course.
Ahead of the midterms this year, that it's worth the economic pain?
Well, the message is the short-term volatility for long-term gain.
No, so basically the Americans got to wait for their money. Americans got to worry about you guys paying for this $1 trillion that you asked for. So they don't care about the American people. They don't give a damn when you get paid back.
And Danny, if I could add to that, you know, the president's been very clear, again, as the secretary just said, this is a short-term disruption for the long-term strategic goal of the United States to ensure that.
So you guys pay the price. We pay the price. We pay the money. They don't care about whether we got to pay it. They just worried about what they got to do with the money.
That the world's leading state sponsor of terror cannot obtain a nuclear weapon. That's a good thing for the American people. That's a good thing for people all over the world.
They can't stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. They can't stop them because the idiot tore up the deal that Obama made. The idiot put us in this predicament.
And as the president and his economic and energy team have repeatedly stated, as soon as the operation and now the negotiations with Iran conclude and the strait is reopened, we do expect gas prices to decrease. And thank goodness we have a president and an administration that believes in American energy dominance in bringing down prices at the pump. Look at how gas prices decreased over the past year since this president was in office. It's a stark contrast to the previous administration and Democrats in this city who believe in hampering our domestic energy industry, who believe in importing our most precious resources, who believe in implementing policies that created the worst inflation crisis in history. So President Trump has built the greatest economy in the world before. He is doing it again. Of course, we have this short-term disruption, but again, it's for the long-term strategic goal of ensuring that these terrorists cannot possess a nuclear bomb. Jennifer.
First, Secretary Besant, on the Russian oil, I know the sanctions waivers have expired, but how much money did Russia benefit from that temporary sanctions rules? You initially said about $2 billion. Is that?
It could have been $2 billion. We don't know. But it's let's think of a different world where oil spiked to 150, and they would have made a lot more by doing that, by pushing the Russian barrels that were already on the water. They were going to be sold. They were going to China no matter what. We pushed them to our allies. We helped stabilize the oil price. And as you can see, there were doomsday scenarios. Oil's going to 150. It's going to 200. It's going to $250. West Texas crude for the front month delivery is about $92 or $93 now.
Thank you, everybody. I know we have two very busy cabinet secretaries with us here today. Before we do depart, just one final announcement. As you know, this year we celebrate America's 250th birthday. In honor of this historic occasion, President Trump and the Department of Interior will submit plans for the United States Triumphal Arch, which will be an architectural masterpiece to celebrate our history right here in Washington, D.C. This is a rendering of the ark for you. Thank you, Peter. It's quite beautiful, as you can see, and this monumental ark will beam at 250 feet tall in honor of 250 years and stand on ground that is currently empty green space in Memorial Circle on Columbia Island, a man-made island in the Potomac River managed by the National Park Service. The United States Triumphal Arch will be outfitted with beautiful artwork and depictions celebrating the success.
Is Trump's name going to be on it? There's the kicker for me. Is his name going to be on it? Hell no, it better not be.
Of the American people over our 250-year history and the enduring triumph of the American spirit. Long after everyone in this room is gone, our children and grandchildren will remain inspired by this national monument. Beginning construction this year on the architectural arc is a fitting way to commemorate the 250th anniversary of American independence. Great nations build beautiful structures that cultivate national pride and love of country, and this triumphal arc should be a project that all Americans of all political persuasions can support, because it's a monument for every American to celebrate 250 years of our nation's proud history. And again, the plans for this will be submitted tomorrow. We'll have many more announcements with respect to our 250th anniversary in the coming months as we look forward to the 4th of July. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day.
I swear it was so much into that. It's so much into that. This president, this administration does so much. I told y'all a long time ago, every day this presidency does something. It does something to either aggravate us, or we spending more money, or we need to not worry about our money, or we need to look a different way. It's never positive. It's always spending money. It's always taking money out of the American people pocket. It's never putting money back in our pocket. Where's our $5,000 Doge check? Where's our $5,000 or $2,000 Doge check? Now we got a monument going up. We got a gigantic ballroom in the White House. We need $1.5 trillion for a war. We could have been done had our $2,000 Doge check. We could have been done had our $5,000 Doge check. They don't want to give the American people jack. They just want to loot our coffers, and it never comes back to the American people. And here we are struggling. Did anybody say anything about, hey, why don't we send y'all an extra $500 a month to pay for gas? Well, hey, why don't we give every household $1,000 worth of food stamps? That'll help y'all out. Or, hey, let's send every family a gas voucher. Hey, have they said anything like that? There's nothing for the American people. That's the problem. And they know we out here hurting. This is why I don't trust this administration, because they lie. It's a sleight of hand. Let me pay for this, but then you guys don't get jack shit. Where the hell is the American people stuff? You notice that the only thing they said they were giving to the American people were some tax cuts. And I ain't seen no good refund yet. Ain't nobody told me that they had a damn outstanding refund. Ain't nobody told me that. I ain't heard that. I've talked to many people. What was your refund? Was your refund different from what it was last year? Ain't nobody's refund been no different from what it was before. Ain't nobody's refund been different. It's wild. Y'all put what y'all like about this video in the comment section, and I'll be back later with some more details. I'll be back later with some more content, because I'm sure the day is not over. This president never makes the day over, because he always got to push some foolishness out of his ass. Y'all put in the comment section where y'all like the video, and I'll see y'all in the next one.